I have a question for you. Have you ever messed up so badly that in your own mind you thought that there was no way to come back from it? That maybe even you couldn't comprehend the weight of what you'd done, like it was like the end of the world in your brain almost. I felt that many times in my life. One small example is when I was in elementary school, we did the card system. You did something wrong, you pulled a card. We started at green every day. Hopefully you didn't get to red. Do I remember what any of those things meant? No, not at all. It's been a long time. But at the time, those cards meant a ton to me. I remember the first time I ever pulled a yellow card. I didn't pull cards. Let me tell you what. I was a rule follower to the max. It was actually to my detriment, for the record. But here's the deal. I pull this yellow card. I'm in second grade. I pull a yellow card, and I couldn't think about anything else the rest of the day, right? School was off the table. My mind was elsewhere. All I could think about was how I had to get home, tell my mom, admit this to my parents, and deal with the consequences from there. And in my mind, that was just incomprehensible. Whatever those consequences were, it was over. Here's the deal, though. The story doesn't end there for us when we have those moments. I felt those moments a lot more seriously later in my life, and you probably have too. Maybe it's an addiction you struggle with. Maybe it's something really huge that you did at some point in your life that still is carried with you. Here's the deal. Maybe we have to realize that we were not meant to, and we are not able to bear the weight of those sins on our own. Hi, I'm Elijah. Welcome back to Loving the Truth. I'm the media director here at Lazy, and today I'm going to be taking you through a chunk of Romans where we examine the weight of sin and the majesty of Jesus and his love for us in overcoming those sins. First thing we have to realize is that sin entered the world by our own choice. It was a human condition element from the beginning, right? In the garden, we see that Adam and Eve were living this perfect life. They were designed to be in communion with God. They were designed to live in a relationship with him. They were given a job by him, and yet they broke that bond in their first sin. And that sin opened up humanity to death, physical and spiritual, because we're now separated from the Creator. We're separated from our intent and from our design. And it becomes impossible for me to pay for my own sin. I can't do this on my own. So what does God do? In his grace and mercy, he gives us the law, ways we can make up for it, right? He gives us, there's these sacrificial practices we can do. There's these different elements that are involved. He gives us this way that we as humans can pay for our own sins. That's seen throughout the Old Testament. And what do we as humans do? We mess it up over and over and over again. We cannot reconcile ourselves with Christ. We're never able to do it right. I have another question for you. I asked at the beginning if you'd ever felt the weight of sin so greatly you thought maybe you couldn't overcome it. Have you ever been told that there are ways that you yourself can repay it? Have you ever been told that there's a way you need to make it right? In some cases that's true, yes, but to pay for our own sins, that's not something we can do. This is a mistake that's made sometimes in churches even, where we think that there's some sort of practice we can do, some sort of way of living to purify ourselves in the name of a holy God, and we can't. We can't. We're not capable of that. So what options do we have? Not a lot, but the options we do have are pretty amazing. We could fall into self-despair. We could just let it destroy us, the fact that we can't make up for these sins. We could take our own self-righteousness and try to just overcome the feelings maybe, and just bolster ourselves so much that we don't feel the weight of the sin that's pulling down on us constantly. Because I tell you what, guys, we're all feeling it. We've all made mistakes. We've all messed up. We're all feeling the weight of that. Now, here's another option that's presented in the Bible, in this chapter in Romans. Jesus gave us a way out, and it was to lean on him. It was a radical act of love and grace that just overcame our inability to make up for the wrong that we've done. And to accept that is really simple, actually. We're told in the Bible that all we have to do, believe in our hearts that Jesus is Lord, that God raised him from the dead, right? That he came, he lived a perfect, sinless life, died on the cross in our place, because we were meant to bear those sins. These sins are things that we brought upon ourselves. And God in his infinite mercy came and paved the way for us to be freed from them. And the second element of that is simply confessing with your mouth all these things that you know to be true. I challenge you today, if you have been feeling this weight of sin, if you feel overwhelmed, don't do it alone. Talk to somebody. You can reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. You can talk to friends, family, go to a church, plug in, find some people, because this is not a weight and a burden that you can get rid of on your own. But we aren't in a position where we have to carry it on our own anymore. because we are redeemed through Christ Jesus, who came, who lived, and who died in our place.